Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astroguide Mysore. So today we will be understanding the positive results of Mercury Mahadasha. So I have gone in detail here. So in the back end my wife will be doing all the research with regard to what I should present. So anyway, she is here. So the positives today and tomorrow I'll be putting the negatives. So let there be two videos. So earlier videos also, if I have combined both and it has become a very lengthy video. So now I am splitting it into two halves. From Saturn I have started it. So Mercury, when it is placed in the Kendras, that is the quadrants, the first, the fourth, the seventh, the 10th, and the Trines, the 5th and the 9th, and if it is identical to its own sign, identical in the sense that if both are a combination, that it is the 4th house and also it is the own sign or the Mula Trikona or the exaltation point of Mercury. I just gave you an example. So when it is in the 1st, 4th, 7th, 10th, 5th, 9th, and if it is also its own sign, exaltation sign, a friend's house, a very good friend's house like Venus or even Saturn. Why I am telling or even Saturn is because from certain places the own sign of Saturn is not that favorable for the Mercurian sign. Like for example, for Gemini, the sign of Capricorn is the 8th. So the 6-8 combination is there. And for Kanya Rashi, that is Virgo, the Aquarius is the 6-8 combination. So when Mercury is placed in either Capricorn or Aquarius, partially the 6-8 combination of relationship between the signs of the planet Mercury and Saturn might have some conflict. So that is why I am telling that Saturn is a good friend, but Venus is the best. It is a best combination of Venus-Mercury or Mercury in Venus's sign. So friend's sign, and it should not be afflicted. It should not be in the axis of Rahu and Ketu. It should not be with a retro Jupiter or a debilitated moon, a Ketu moon combination, a retro Saturn. See, these are all malefic combinations which can give different kinds of various results. So, once again I will repeat, Mercury in Kendras 1, 4, 7, 10 or in Trines the 5th or the 9th and posited in its own sign, Mula Trikona or exaltation points, then it gives positive results in its Mahadasha, that is the major period of Mercury. This is the Vimshottari Dasha system which I am talking as on date. So a person will start acquiring knowledge. The significations of Mercury will start blossoming in the person. So that means all the previous days, if the person has been going through the Saturn Mahadasha, felt very dull, remorse, alone, lonely, isolated from friends, will suddenly start getting socialization, will start getting the reciprocation, the response of people. People will start acknowledging his intelligence. They will ask advice. So these things are the changes what a person can see when he is entering into the Mercury Dasha. Specifically, he will start getting good command over language, the vocabulary, the flow of thought, the communication will become flawless, fluency will start, and children who have been going through problems like primary autism, like children who are having ADHDs, children who are having speech problem, in the Mercury Dasha, if Mercury is well placed And if they are born on the edge of the Saturn Dasha, let us say Saturn Dasha and Rahu Bhukti, or Saturn Dasha or Jupiter Antardasha. So that means after 3 or 5 years, they will be entering into the Mercury Mahadasha. And if Mercury is well placed from the ascendant point, they will recover, or the signs of recovery is faster, and the therapy what is being given by the speech therapist or the autism therapist will actually give fruits. That means the child will recover. So these are things which you should understand, that why is the Mahadasha of Mercury important? Because communication, because many children, I keep getting chats of children who can't even speak a word, or they are not attentive, they cannot process, and they will not reciprocate. So these are all signs of autism. And there are some other children who cannot focus, they are extremely deviated, they have no sense of concentration. These are signs of ADHD. So these things can be understood from the chart as to whether there is good time for them to recover, or you will meet a good guru who will teach you, who will mentor your children into a good, better path. So this is a good time if Mercury is placed positively. So they can become very good orators, and they can get jobs like teaching, preaching, mentoring. And if it is in the third house, they get into excellent jobs of communication, like into BPOs, head of marketing, head of project managers. So they can do very good with client relationship, PROs, etc. So this is for both the second and the third house placement of Mercury, the Vaksthana and the house of communication. They can also start making good money. So let us say they were in a very bad position in the Saturn Jupiter, went through a bad patch of personal life. Mercury can give them back the hope to live. So let me come to the 7th house. I will talk about it. So when it is posited very well in the 4th house, they can start acquiring good agricultural lands. And if at all people had lands and they were not interested in it, the interest will start growing. That means they will start cultivating and make money in it, and they will be able to develop property, build houses. So this is a good time to construct. That is when Mercury is in the 4th house, and if it is in its own sign, or if it is exalted giving rise to Bhadra Yoga, then a person can get into good real estate construction. That is, he can build his own house. For years together, people will be suffering without having a own place to stay, and suddenly, out of nowhere, luck will provide them a good place and a good stay. So their vehicles, Vahanasthana, that is the 4th house, they'll start buying good vehicles, very good cordial relationship with mother, because 4th house is for Matrusthana, mother, and very good intellect. They will be respected for their carefree, unnecessarily not getting attached to tensions, unstressful, easy behavior. So they will be recognized for this. So when it is posited in the 5th house, this is the house where Mercury gives the best, the 5th and the 9th. Why is it good there and not only in the materialistic houses like the 4th, 7th or 10th? Is because Mercury is a planet of intellect. That is the basis of Mercury. And children who are studying and they have been going through a rough patch in the Saturn Mahadasha, coming to the Mercury Dasha, they will start showing interest in the subjects, and the grasping power will increase, and they will start having, and cognitively they will like the subject, and they love to go to school. So people who are having a good Mercury in the 5th house, they can start becoming imaginative. Their imagination will increase, their perspective will change, and they will be more joyful in their particular endeavors. So it's a fifth house means that you will start education or be under some good tutors, or you will get a good guru. So fifth house is an excellent position for studying. Okay, good universities, going to good colleges, going abroad. So it is like for example, so if the fifth house Mercury is strong and if the 12th house is strong, in that particular period of time, the Lord placed in the fifth house like Mercury and the sublord which is placed in the 12th house can give abroad education. So small minor predictions. So if the same planet goes into the 6th and the 8th, so this is a tricky part, because we know the 6th and the 8th and the 12th houses are called as Triksthanas, that is the houses of obstacles, dissatisfaction. But you can also understand that these are the same houses in the 6th house where it is also for competitiveness, the spirit of living ahead. The 8th house is for achievement of desires, Hatha Yoga. So the competitive spirit can become very good. A person can get into financial sectors like auditors, chartered accountants, and head of finance. So they can get promotions. They can become wealthy because 8th house aspects the 2nd house. The 6th house is the 9th from the 10th. So if you count 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it is the 9th from the 10th. So it is the Bhagyasthana, that is the house of fortune for the 10th house, which is the house of profession. So if it gets slightly afflicted, so I am going into a part where it is not fully negative, but it is slightly afflicted in these houses of the 6th and the 8th, the thirst for money and power will increase. So the focus will only be like, if I gain money, I'll gain respect. Yeah, especially in the 8th house. So that is that if I get a position, only then people will respect me. So I should go to that position. Until then, my family will not regard me. So this type of complex inferiority or inferiority complex might set into the person. So I'll take the second part into the negative. Yeah. So if in the 9th house, the interest in higher education, or if a person has discontinued and there is a gap in between because of the Saturn Mahadasha, the Mercury Dasha can make a person continue his studies like the graduation, undergraduation, higher education, or getting into doctorate, or getting into business. So people will have been staying in continuously in a government job or a stable job, but they would always want to get into business. And if Mercury is well posited, that too particularly the 9th and the 10th houses, particularly the 9th house. Why? Because it is the 12th from the 10th house. So it is loss of job, which you will have voluntarily done, you will have voluntarily left it, and gain of business, because it is the 3rd house from the 7th, 8th and 9th. So the 9th house is the activity of the 7th house. So if you have a good planet which is giving Amala Yoga from the Lagna, Mercury in the beautifully exalted in the 9th house can give you an excellent venture into business, but you will have left the job. But if it is that the 10th Lord also is along with Mercury, that means you will have the job and also do business. So that is how it is. So I have skipped the 7th house. Let me come to the 7th house. They will be very good in marketing skills. So that means they will get married. People who are having very good Mercury in the 7th house usually will get into marital relationship. They will also travel abroad, travel a lot with regard to their job. So that is a marketing job. So you keep traveling from place to place to get into for your job, purpose of business. So lot of people get into own business, and people who are having own business and have the Dasha of the 7th house Mercury and if it is in its own sign, giving rise to Bhadra Yoga or exalted or Mula Trikona, all these three can become in the Kanya Rashi, that is the Virgo sign, because Mercury gets exalted from 0 degree to 15 degrees in Virgo. From 15 to 20 it is Mula Trikona, from 20 to 30 degrees its own sign. But in Gemini, if Mercury is posited, it is its own sign. So let us go to the 10th house now. Good job, good promotions, good placements, good status, and respectable and reputation grows when Mercury is there in the 10th house. That means there will be very less of a competition to you. So that means if there are people who are in the fray to a particular position, you will be the choice of the committee. So you can get into that particular position. So that is how Mercury gives you an edge over others. So in the 11th house, always when the Mercury is one of the karakas for the 11th house for fast gains and giving you exceptional gains. So that is a very good placement for Mercury. We usually tell that when fast gains come, that might be because of stocks, not always. So be careful that when you think that, when you see that you are having Mercury in the 11th house, don't start putting money or putting it on betting or putting it on speculation. Don't simply jump on it, because every horoscope will not have a great result in speculation. So if in the 12th house, then people can get into import and export business, and in that particular period of time, they can travel abroad for studies. And there is one more thing, that a person can become a very good neurosurgeon when it is in the 6th or in the 12th. So you can see that the positions of the 6th and the 12th, so it sees each other. So it's a beautiful position, and that particular placement of Mercury can give other negatives to the person. No doubt Mercury in the 6th can give some partial negatives, which we will be talking in the tomorrow's class. So thank you very much for today's class.